To go into the real world or not, you know? I mean, I want to say that I am, but you never really know until you take that step for yourself. This is my school, Hawaii Academy of Arts and Science. We all call it HAAS. We're a public charter school with about 150 kids on campus, and everyone pretty much knows everyone. I've been at this school since 8th grade, and now it's my last year. I'm supposed to be graduating this year, but I've been hearing that our school might not stay open because of budget cuts. People keep asking me what I'm going to do after high school, and really, I just don't know. Right now, I don't even know if HAAS will still be around, and it's scary. Puna is already an area full of poverty, but this year, everything feels that much more stressful. When I look around, it feels like other people are just as unsure as I am about the future.
We live in one of the most socioeconomically depressed areas in the state. We have more incidents of broken families and drug abuse and people living below the poverty level, homeless people.
We see a lot of challenges around drug use and abuse with employment opportunities or lack thereof in Puna. So the challenges for all of us as leaders is to make sure that we focus on building a healthy, safe community. You have a very long history, very strong culture in Puna, but at the same time, that is now being interwoven with a lot of people who are moving to Hawaii and ultimately to Puna for the very simple reason that the most affordable real estate in the state of Hawaii on any island is in the area of Puna. In a 4-year period around statehood in 1959 to 1963, we saw 70,000 residential lots created in Puna without any infrastructure. So Paradise Park was created. We saw, 40 years ago with no roads, no water, no electricity, but 8,842 lots. If somebody came today to build a subdivision with 8,000 lots, we'd make sure there'd be roads, schools, playgrounds, that there'd be a master plan component. That never happened. So you add Orchid Land, Aina Loa, Nana Valley, Leilani Estates, Black Sand Subdivision, Kapoho, Fern Acres. You're talking of sprawling rural districts with substandard infrastructure, very limited educational and recreational opportunities for our kids, and then you see the socioeconomic indicators that go along with those challenges.
I know that we have rough times, some of our people in our district, because we don't have that much money, don't have much jobs. Some of them is living in poverty. We don't have as much facilities, like movies. We don't have these things for our children to go to. So then, they have to either come to Hilo or they don't have nothing. So that's why, as a leader of our community right now, I want to make sure that I start doing things for our children, because we've been lacking for so long. I'm 53 at this time, and so I've seen what we got in the last 53 years and what we never have. We've been denied.
The founders of HAAS recognized the need for a healthy and safe learning community in Puna. So they got together in 2001 to write a charter for the school.
So we're looking towards next year as how we can facilitate separation without this.
But we can always use our 2 classrooms too as that type of stuff.
The process of starting HAAS involved lots and lots of meetings. We were interested in seeing choice in education available in our community. So we did a full year of formal planning and total quality practices, putting storyboards up on the wall and taking surveys, and so we felt like we were on a good track. Being an effective facilitator of learning is as huge as delivering content. And the day content is changing so fast, who's keeping up with it anyways? I'm sorry, if you were a chemistry major 30 years ago.
I'll call you right back. What is it? Okay. We had to get the charter ready for June, and we received our charter on June 21st, 2001.
I don't know if anyone knows it, but HAAS was scheduled to open on September 11th, 2001. And when my children came upstairs and woke me up that morning and told me that they'd flown airplanes into the buildings, I realized we weren't going to have school that day. And on September 12th, HAAS met for the first time.
It was quite a scramble to get everything in place, because when we received our charter, all we had was a piece of paper, and we didn't have buildings, we didn't have desks or chairs or papers or teachers even. So in 2.5 months we had to rent a space and find teachers and do the whole interview process, put our special education in place and our transportation in place and our food service in place. So it was quite a busy summer. We started with 107 students, and this year we have 462, so that's quite a growth in 8 years.
Peace out!
I'll never forget coming over here with about 60 or 70 students that had signed up for HAAS originally, walking onto this property, nothing but weeds and overgrown, and telling them someday the school that we're starting right now will be here on this 3.5 acre lot. And lo and behold, we're here now with all of these wonderful buildings in this killer school. It's crazy stuff. Really good.
When I first started working here, we taught out of tents and pavilions, and we had like 5 or 6 different locations all throughout Pahoa. Now we're on one spot and amazing facilities, and we've actually gotten a lot larger, which has changed it quite a bit.
What it has done is become much more of a regular kind of classic school compared to when it started out.
Still waiting for you guys.
We used to have 1 person in the office, 4 teachers, 60 kids. The beauty of it is it's all kind of coming to us now to say this is what we have to deal with.
I need to clarify our expectations for this week. Okay, first expectation, everyone needs to wear shoes. Next expectation, everybody needs to work in a joyful manner. Well, we invite you to do it in a joyful manner.
We've been facing generations of dependencies. In other words, around here is you depend on government for your housing, your food, and you make babies to get more money. So when we're going to work with this youth, and we work with the general public here, what could we do different to change that mentality? And it was our idea of giving first, community service.
Nice one.
I love Community Service Week. I participate and volunteer every time. Taking a week out of school time to simply give back to the community that you're part of, and to teach the kids the importance of giving back to the community that you live in, and giving back in a big way without any expectation of something back. I love that.
Yeah, let's go over by the fire department and by those trees right there, and then we'll cruise around right here.
Whether it's picking up rubbish along the street side, or helping out at the animal shelters, helping out at the life care centers. I mean, there's such a broad range of things that we do.
It's not a matter of taking from the community, it's giving back to the community. And so HAAS is creating the next generation of leaders in our community. And that's, again, another reason why we really love this school.
Good job today, guys. Yep.
Thank you.
I'm so happy I can be of service to my community.
Whenever I get up in the morning during these community service weeks, I generally feel like, gee, do I want to go out and pick up trash or something today? And then I start thinking about, wait a minute, this is for the community. This is where I live. I mean, and all I'm doing is helping out just a little bit. And all we got were thank yous down there. Everybody walked by, well, thanks for all the work you do. And that's given back, and so that was just juice for me and for all the kids that were working there.
This lady threw her plastic McDonald's cup on the grass, and me and Molly and everybody were all really offended, and so we pulled up to her and we told her she dropped something, and then we drove away and she called us a bad word.
We picked up rubbish over by Malama Mart. We picked up rubbish behind Cash and Carry, and yeah, basically kind of Malama downtown Pahoa town.
It was super awesome. We had a great time, you know what I mean?
We came back here and we're like, oh my god, we have the nicest school ever. We're really lucky to go to a charter school because the public schools, they seem kind of like the teachers don't care as much about the students, kind of. And so it just made us feel really lucky to have a campus like this.
As the money gets lower, unfortunately, the quality will have to suffer because the amount of personnel will go down, the amounts of technology will go down, the things that we can offer you won't be there.
You're welcome. That's the spirit. Remember your thank yous. Eat yourself.
We don't want to lose the kind of school that we created because this is a unique school right here. There's no other Hawaii Academy of Arts and Science anywhere. We're one of a kind.
For me, a lot of times, the specialist moments are the most still and the most silent. At the end of our day, I was picking up some weeds around a kalo patch, and I was at one corner, and right next to me was Showa. We weren't talking, but I tapped into that moment of Showa taking care of the land, and I'm right there with him sharing that space. It was very still, and for that moment, right, you could just kind of feel that you're coming together for a very kind of a powerful purpose.
HAAS has actually played a really big role in my life. Like, before I came here, I was like a loser pretty much, like straight up. I was going nowhere with my life, just down, like in every way possible. But then I came to this new school, I figured, new school, new start. So I pretty much changed my life once I started coming here. I mean, I fixed everything up, so that's the key. Like, if I hadn't came to HAAS, I wouldn't have started dancing at all.
There was so much freedom to express yourself, and with that made it so easy to find truth in who you are. I'm excited to graduate, but at the same time, I'm nervous about it because I really like going to high school and I like it here. We don't have a lot of violence, and everyone kind of knows one another. It's like having a family at school, your second home.
Immediately, I felt accepted. They all came and hugged me right away. Now, coming from KAO, I kind of like backed up a little bit, like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Thought they were going to try and like mob me, but they're all really sweet. They all introduced themselves, gave me hugs, and it was right then I knew that it was going to be a really cool school, and I knew I was going to like it a lot.
It's kind of good for me that it's like a small school. With larger schools, I get nervous and stuff, and then like I always get picked on because of certain things.
You know, when we started the school, on the first day, I was thinking about, you know, the opening day and opening, what I'm going to say to these kids, you know, I didn't even know them. And so we had to pick on a core value. And I had always thought that was aloha. And I said that day, if we do everything that we do, if we teach with aloha, we receive with aloha, and we exchange aloha, that we'll be okay. We'll be doing okay.
So just know that you can always take it home anytime you want. I'll stay after school and help you guys, no problem. I really want you guys to do well.
One of the mainstays that keeps us thriving is the use of aloha in our teaching, in our way of addressing different disciplinary problems, in our way of encouraging each other to be better and better people.
One of the things I'm most proud of here at HAAS is our capacity to embrace diversity.
Lead, lift the arm.
We showed up at noon one day, and one of your handicapped students were on stage singing. And let's just say it wasn't a professional performance, but everyone sat very respectfully and waited till the end, and there was thunderous applause, and my wife and I had a tear in our eye. I don't know any other school where the children would be that accepting and that uplifting in that type of situation.
When I went to KAO, I felt completely unwelcome and scared. I was scared all the time, getting beaten up.
I do not want my children to grow up in an environment that doesn't teach social ethics, and I wasn't getting that in the public schools, and I don't see that, and I'm not willing to sacrifice the children that I have for society's influences. I am not. So I search for the things that is best for them, and I look for activities and programs, and that is HAAS.
Part of our commitment at Hui Malama Nameakane is to take care of our backyard. So Vaipai is one of our vital spots that we come to.
Hui Malama is a program that we started here at HAAS. It's project-based, so we don't separate into different classes. We don't have science class or language arts class. We combine it all together around a theme, and we do projects and research around that theme.
Ho mai ka ike mai luna mai e o na mea huna noia o na mele ho mai e ho mai e mai ka ikela. Okay, so we need to get all our equipment over. 2 teams of 3. We need a diver, researcher, and a recorder. We're collecting data about pH levels. We're doing fish identification. With this baseline data that we got, we can share it with Department of Land Natural Resources. They need to know. Department of Health is real curious about what's going on with pH levels around our places here.
Guys, check this out. It looks awesome. Tomorrow, go check it out.
My favorite thing is to be able to expose the kids to an outdoor classroom situation. To get them out here with the environment and having them attune themselves to what's happening.
We need to work in groups, develop those skills. We need to create a product, and we need to share that product to the community. And real world problems, not made up things.
Alright, so we're cutting the invasive weed kahili ginger is what this is. There's a lot of seeds here, and what we're going to do is free up the forest so the native plants can come up.
Whoa, that's mine, man. I can't really learn from just reading. But when I'm hands-on, like, I've always known that I learn better.
We have everything just right here. We have a volcano, forest, wildlife, rare birds, rare everything that you only find here.
When
when you're learning on the field hands-on, there's just so much around you, and it's so engaging. It's so interesting to actually be involved with the world rather than looking at the world through some little book.
Nice job. I see how you got a lot of this moss off here, yeah?
Yeah.
Make sure you go all the way around both of these, right? It'll make the tree breathe and be a happy little tree and give us magnets.
And healthy.
What we do is we provide services for special education students aged 14 through 20 who have not experienced success in the traditional school setting. Students who need work experience, students who need instruction in social skills, vocational skills, so we prepare them for the world of work. I think we're the only charter school in the state that runs a workplace readiness program for students with moderate to severe disabilities.
Bend your legs. There you go, let's take this puppy.
We have the opportunity to offer a myriad of learning styles. We've got project-based, that doesn't work for you. How about a computer-based program? How about a more traditional show up in the classroom kind of thing? And then we have the homeschooling option, take your work home. I think it's critical that we have different options in our community.
When we answer and meet students' needs based on their interest and meeting them where they are and taking them where they need to go, it can't help but be successful.
We work really hard on the community of learners, the school director, the parents, the teachers, the students, the bus drivers. Everybody has something to learn here.
I spent 2 years trying to get into HAAS. If HAAS were to close next semester, whoa, that would be huge.
So good to see the whole staff and everybody here together. I hope Santa Claus all treated you all good. I know Santa Claus came to my house and wiped my bank account out. Boy, what a year. There's been some major changes in education, as you know. Patricia Hamamoro retired. What I'm really excited about is her replacement is Catherine Matayoshi. And, you know, oftentimes we get overlooked because people in Honolulu just don't know where Lapo Hawaii is or where Kau is or even where Pahoa is. So having somebody that grew up on the outer islands and head of Department of Education is really a good thing.
Who's this? Who we got on campus?
All right. In the Department of Education, we have a state superintendent. Then we have a deputy. Under the deputy, there are 15 complex area superintendents. On the Big Island, there are 3 of them. I'm in charge of the schools from Ka'u, Ke'au, and Pahoa. So in the state of Hawaii, there are 40 complexes. Of the 40 complexes, the complex with the highest free reduced ratio is Pahoa. The second is going to be Waianae. The third is Ka'u. And the fourth is Ke'au.
Don't buy into it, whatever.
Yeah, I know. I'm just gonna like ignore her.
Okay. We deal with a rural environment that has urban problems, and we don't have infrastructure that allows us to truly deal with that in the fashion that inner city schools or urban schools would.
I would call it the Wild West because it's like no rules really, no regulations. It's just out there.
Another challenge would be how do you get children to and from wherever they want easily.
To
to pull everybody together is difficult because they do live in a variety of different circumstances, and some may have cars, some don't. Some may have computers, some don't. Some may have TVs, some don't. I mean, they live off water, off power, live in tents, comfortably, mind you, but that's their living environment.
The schools in Hawaii generally are diverse, so it depends on the populations, the poverty levels. But when you build healthy schools, you end up building healthy communities.
Notice how the shape of those cells are different from the shape of the plant cells.
We're becoming a revolutionary force in education. As we grow to 8 and 10,000 to 15,000 students, we'll become a force politically, and people are going to have to stop and listen to what charter school is about.
I'm not so sure that the general public understands the differences between charter schools and our regular public schools.
When the public says, I want charter schools, I want private schools, because I don't like the public schools, then what they're doing is they're throwing up their hands at what we have.
Yeah, let's go like this.
If everybody had the same rules, had to answer to the same things, then I could say it's fair across everywhere. But it's not.
It's going to be so totally awesome. Yeah. What's something else we need?
I think people think charter schools don't have to follow the same rules as DOE as far as academics. I think they can just do whatever they want and there's not really an accountability. And that's not true.
Let's make it clear. A charter school, first of all, is public. It's free education. We operate on a business model. In other words, if we don't do a good job, who'd want to come to our school?
When we're small like this and when we're not loaded with bureaucracy, we can have an idea, we can troubleshoot, we can put that idea into action and have a chance to do it well.
In a usual Department of Ed system, right, you have decision makers at the top, and they send the message and the policy all the way down to the school. In the charter, the obligation to create what will be done and the ability to be independent to do it is done at the school level. So here's an example. In a symphony orchestra, our job is to take that music that somebody else wrote with a conductor and play it exactly the way they wrote it. If I'm playing notes that are not on the page, I'm wrong, right? Because I'm not playing what Mozart wrote. In a charter school, it's more like a jazz group. If you're not improvising, you're alone.
Charter schools as sort of the front innovative edge of education. They're the ones that can push the envelope and do things differently because they're smaller, they're more nimble, they can be creative. And so my view is that charter schools can be a really important part of the reform movement because they can try things and they can think out of the box. And when things work great for a charter school, we should look at it and say, hey, maybe a DOE school would like to do that too.
Parents choose schools maybe for philosophical reasons. Maybe they choose schools because that's their alma mater. So many of our charter schools are Hawaiian culture-based or Hawaiian language-based. Kids want to do it that
way. Having choice in education is really important because people learn differently. And so this school provides an opportunity for students that are hands-on, project-based, and everything we do, we try to do traditional Hawaiian cultural practices, but modern technologies as well, so that our students will be very prepared for today's world, but grounded in place and culture.
Events in history are not just isolated things. They are stones in a pond that affect each other. Again and again and again for generations.
Our goal is to not only educate our children and make sure that they're able to contribute to society in a positive way,
but also to give them a lens, a Hawaiian lens, in which they can look at the world and know that we come from here. And there's a certain way of living that we have here in Hawaii, and we want to make sure that we perpetuate these ideas of aloha and of aloha na'awa, which is a love of knowledge, to respect our elders. These kinds of things that we want our children to know, in addition to being able to calculate mathematical problems. Okay. For all of our difference in opinions on so many different subjects, the one thing that families and the community agrees on is that these things are important to hold on to. And I think everyone sleeps a little better at night knowing that Ke Kula o Navihio Kalani o Pu'u is here. And we're fulfilling a mission that maybe not everyone has the time to do or the energy, but they're happy that we're here and they support us in their own special way.
Till thou and life are free. In the Volcano School for Arts and Science, the focus is arts and science. In Kano o Ka'aina, it's building a sustainable future through the cultural programs. In Ke'ana La'ahana, it's really taking the principles that they believe in as part of the Kanakaole Foundation and living it. So it depends on the child, it depends on the parents, because they want to live what they believe.
We give our families a choice. What happens when families have choice is that they can pick a school that best meets the needs of their kids, and it forces us adults to work harder to prove that we're the best choice for kids. So I think we elevate the whole public education system by providing that choice.
The funding of charter schools is one of the major areas of concern. And that's mostly because we're not receiving funding support for facilities.
And I said, well, shouldn't they? He said, well, they can't do every line item. But I said, this isn't a line item. This is something major. For years and years, I have been going to the legislature and the governor saying our kids deserve more. They don't deserve to be educated in tents.
We get $0 for facilities. And it doesn't take a rocket science to know that kids need a building to sit in and textbooks need shelves to be sitting on.
I've been dealing with it for 9 years. There hasn't been a year that any student in the charter school has gotten fair funding. Not yet. This year funding is really, really bad, and I feel the effects of the funding cuts in my classroom every day.
Here we go. We are doing a terrible problem. It's
this coming year, with even less money, I am very worried about how our schools are going to survive. We really need to look at what it adequately takes to fund students in the state of Hawaii.
We all agree that we're looking at not just equitable funding, but adequate funding for all schools, not just charter schools, but DOE schools as well.
Everything keeps starting to pull the things away from unifying the education department. And if we start bringing it together, we find out that all of those entities, if they come together, would make an excellent educational system. I don't disagree with charter schools, but I do disagree with the way they are not held to the same standards.
Charter schools have freedom, yes, but they also have accountability, more so than other public schools. Because they have so much freedom, they need to be responsible for how they spend those funds and be able to show in student performance that those funds are well spent.
Where is the wrench? Oh, did you guys see the closest one?
For the past 6 years, we're knocking the socks off on the scores on HSA testing.
But I think I need to complete a square and probably want to get the X on the other side, because look where the X is over here. It's on this side. So let's move the X over and see what happens first.
Since the beginning, HAAS has been a high-achieving school in its ability to manage its finances, to build this campus. That's an amazing achievement. High-achieving in the dynamic way in which they change their programs to meet the needs of the students. It's one of our shining examples. We would that all the charter schools were achieving as well as HAAS.
Hello, council members.
We need to move to where local communities can govern their own schools Right now we have a single Board of Education. They're centered in Honolulu. That's 13 board members that make decisions on the whole state. And of the 13, 10 are from Oahu.
If they forget that they're the hub of everything that comes through, and they don't make sure that those tentacles are getting the information from the outer islands, then they'll never know exactly what we need. All of the islands do not have transportation. They do not have infrastructure. They do not have these resources you take for granted being in a very large city.
Personally, I think that allowing districts to govern themselves would be huge for Hawaii. I think time for change is here.
Right now, as a very large organization, we have a lot of rules. And those rules have a place, but sometimes they prevent us from really looking at the needs of the student and doing what we need to do to meet those needs. So my view is we increase our flexibility, we decrease the burden of our administration while staying accountable. That would be a great world to live in. It'd be a great place for students and teachers and for administrators. And I think that we can do that. We're just going to have to work really hard at it.
After hearing so many different perspectives on education, I wanted to talk to Dr. Manu Meyer, a teacher of teachers at UH Hilo. She teaches a popular class there called Transformational Education.
Transformation for me is the ability to self-reflect on behalf of a transforming society so that you can be of purpose and service to others. And so, hands down, charter schools are helping. You know why? Because they are a part of the peripheral of change. Inevitably in history, there's the periphery, and the periphery comes into the center. Change is always like that. We represent a new consciousness. Aloha Aina, place-based pedagogy, creative assessment strategies that aren't driven by pencil paper testing, you know what I mean? It's, we represent something different, which is actually very old. And that is the ability to build on relationships, to know that safety and care are the main concerns of how knowledge gets exchanged, and the rest will come.
Education cannot be just funneled into a nice, clear box, of data. I mean, there's so much more that happens with education. I really fear that students are losing the joy of education.
Standardization of schooling is the death bell. We're drilling ourselves to death with the false expectation that uniformity is the higher form of intelligence. It simply isn't. I believe that the system has been corrupted and our students are no longer intimately inspired by their own focus. They just want the grade. And kids and adults will ultimately reject that because they will be dying inside. And they will choose life instead. I know they will. I know they will.
I used to say that grades were basically turned teachers into accountants who also did some instruction. But as soon as you start accessing students into things that they're interested in, well, that's when the learning really is unstoppable. All of a sudden, they want to know, they find out how to know, they start going, and then they come to you and they ask you questions that are pertinent to them.
Teachers nowadays have to understand that as society changes and the needs of our natural environment beg us for awareness, we must respond intelligently. What is worth saving? How can we be more respectful to ourselves, our people, our community, and how best can I be of service? And that, for me, is radically waking up.
Do you think that education is headed in that direction?
We are in the darkest times. We are in dark, dark times. I don't think we see it. I don't think we see it. We still believe. We still doubt in a child's potential to learn. We have put uniformity above anything else.
I hate it when teachers tell me what I need, but they don't know what I need. They're saying, this is what you need. And I'm like, no, I don't need to go out in the field and hug everybody in my classroom. I need to learn history.
That's very true.
Like, although that stuff is a waste of time, or it seems like it, when I look back now, I wouldn't have been able to learn half of as much as I did if I didn't know myself, and doing that really did help me find out who I was.
Yeah, I think that's what makes HAAS beautiful, because people do learn differently. And in a funky, dunky place like Puna, we need something like this. We don't just need a Boho High or a KL High. We need a HAAS.
Schools would be great if every student's talents were nurtured on a very individual basis.
I think HAAS's flexibility can really cater to every student's need, no matter what it is. I think the paradigm shift is happening right before our eyes.
We're really like changing the way we are, and like it's so hard to impact all of America, you know? And so I'm just saying we should take personal responsibility and
be the change we should see in the world.
Exactly, and just, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just be stoked that like we can actually vouch for that and be like, I don't know, I haven't gone to Walmart in probably like 2 months, so
high five.
I don't even go to Yellow that much anymore. So I don't know, I'm just saying, like, you know, we can all just like start, you know, walking that path.
Puna is full of hidden treasures, I would say, beneath a lot of misconceptions and rumors.
Puna is a place that is one of a kind, original, you know? It's a place of beauty, lots of people growing food, raising animals, raising children. It's a fire island.
Don't miss out. Lovely place. Puna. Zairi.
I believe in human beings. I believe in a whole other thing that we can be experiencing here.
Some of these kids is just, you know, I don't know if they have parents. To me, I think they just need more programs to actually help benefit the community so the kids can stay out of trouble.
I need us to come out of poverty. Unless we start moving and shaking like Kona and create some stuff so that people can go to work at, then we're going to have a hard time, yeah. I don't want my families to move away. I want them to stay home.
Unless we re-centralize the notion of care for humanity and land, sky, and water, we will be on a path to catastrophe. So I see us waking up together. Because if we don't, we won't. And I have faith that we will.
Okay, so we have 4 instructional days left of school this year. And I'm feeling exhausted. I don't think so much the kids are exhausting. I think it's the way we set things up. I'm realizing more and more with our kids that there's a connection that's not happening. The terminology that we use in the educational system, the expectations, the way we structure our days, what we have our kids learning. I think, how can I deliver and have these kids care and understand about the world if they're not feeling connected to it? How do you get them to care if they don't feel connected?
A lot of students here at our school have drug issues, dealing with a lot of family issues, a lot of family problems. And in some ways, we can't get more out of our students until we clean them up. I'm really understanding the harmful effects of drugs in our community and the economic hardship that many families are facing in our community is a big obstacle to students learning.
Come on, Casa, come into the tunnel with me. Alright, that's Casa, is it? We're going down there. Dun dun.
I am not ready to completely step into the real world yet, and I can admit that wholeheartedly, but I know that I have to, and that my time is here. just like thinking about it gets me really emotional because just everything is just coming really fast.
I need a tassel. I don't have one. Where's it gonna?
If there's something we could do better for next year, I would say it would be more structure. We need to move from just giving them love and aloha and yeah, we love you, we care about you, to we love you, but let's get more out of you.
This year's crop of students has by far been the most unique crop of students. Our seniors are a real different brood of children. But it's wonderful because we're not stifling individuality. I mean, they come right out and blurt out these things. They come up with all these crazy ideas, and that's good.
I want to tell them one thing. I want to tell them to be careful and to be safe and enjoy life, enjoy the ride. Don't worry too much about the destination. Rock and roll.
People need to care about what's happening out here in Puna and in other smaller schools around the country and the charter schools, because it's what our country was founded on. It's part of being a democracy. We all need a voice. If those voices aren't here and if those voices aren't heard, then we become less as a people and a nation. It's not going to work.
We have an amazing group of adults and professionals here that we can totally do this.
We have to be entrepreneurs, and we have to make things, and we have to sell things, and we have to fundraise. We have to be more sustainable rather than depending on the government.
There are a lot of people who are good people, but just change is hard. And we're going to have to convince them that it's worth it, and convince them that we mean it, and stay true to the thing that we believe, and every day just do the next right thing for the students in our schools.
We can't have a Walmart of education. We need our smaller schools that meet the needs of the community and reflect our community across the country. That's why it's going to matter. If HAAS isn't here anymore, they're going to feel it in Honolulu. They're going to feel it in Washington. They're not going to say, I'm feeling this because HAAS isn't there anymore. But it's going to make a difference.
I'm hoping that with the collaboration of the state, the county council, the mayor of this island, we can hold a mood together and go forward for the people of this island.
We must mentor and we must be part of this change. But it is through experience that you're going to know what to do. We have to wake up together, okay? We can do this. We can. I totally believe it.
It took me quite a while to realize that we're on our own. To my friends of the OA class, the future holds or tomorrow. Don't you have any sorrow? Stand your ground without a frown. We gotta prove them wrong, that we can be strong. We've been waiting so long, 'cause OA bound is our time. Listen to memories back in preschool. The time go by so fast, I can't believe we're seniors. It took me quite a while to realize that we're on our own.
My senior year has been crazy. Yes, sir! Yes, sir!
How do you feel about our school? HAAS has actually played a really big role in my life.
I grew a lot from the experiences that I had with my classmates. This school is special because I have the same connection as I do with my regular family.
Seniors 2010.
about the bad news nowadays, and please keep your spirits up and face the world with courage.
Thank you for my friends and helping me. My first year at HAAS, so I never know what was going on, but thank you so much.
HAAS is really special and unique.
This is William Bible, and I'm going to place my hand on a Bible and tell you the truth.
I'm just going to correct Morton on one thing. I have been volunteering at the zoo for 4 years, not 2. Yeah, he's not a teacher and he has trouble with numbers.
And I'd like to thank all of the teachers and everyone else.
And I'm really proud to say that I got to be one of the people who graduate from HAAS.
So let's save these moments for our memory. Take with us everything we have. I wonder if I've gotten all I need. That's why it's so hard to believe. We finally made it. Look at all that we have done.
As principal of the State of Hawaii institution, Hawaii Academy of Arts and Science, I proudly present to you the graduating class of 2010. Move your castles to the other side.
I can now call HAAS my alma mater. The school is not perfect, I know, but it will always feel like home to me. If there's one thing my teachers have taught me, it's that you must be the change you wish to see in the world. I can honestly say that I'm prepared to do just that.
Yeah, beautiful sunny day for us. Can't ask for more. Nice breeze. Everyone's happy.
Patrick, last words for the year.
Oh God. Last words for the year? Thank God it's over.
Erik, last words for the year.
I love you. Can't wait till next year.
Yeah,
we're gonna switch it up next year, so we can put a little bet on
Bring it!
Bring it!
Last words for the year.
Thank God it's over.
That ain't the first time I heard that. It's over! Yay! Last words for the year. Last words for the year.
Just gotta say, I wish this school good luck. Hope they progress. Education, sports. I'll see you guys on the field later.
Oh my gosh, you take me.
Last words for the year, Kim.
Last year's, I'm really looking forward to summer and being in the water with the students at that capacity. But I love my kids and I'll miss them dearly. And I look forward to next year and all the new changes at HAAS. It'll be awesome. You know, HAAS is like full of talented kids and talented teachers. So look out, world. Hawaii's on fire.
Chee-hoo.
Last words?
Bye-bye.
Signing off. That's awesome.